Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Sunday night football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks. This is a very annoying game we have here, a very hard to figure out Pittsburgh Steelers team, what kind of energy, what type of attitude they're going to come out. And then you have the Seattle Seahawks, who just have lost Russell Wilson, their leader and captain, and they're going to be leaning on Geno Smith to orchestrate this offense. What does Pete Carroll and the new offensive coordinator have in mind for Geno Smith? Does that open things up more with the running game, or open things up more with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? We are yet to see, so we're going to have to really figure out this puzzle. Before I deep dive into that game, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Currently at 516 subscribers. The next goal will be 1K. That's going to be the giveaway. Going to give away some cash, cash app somebody. But that is our next goal. Now, let's deep dive into this. All right, our first option right here. I'm going to go over all my favorite plays, and obviously those are going to be options that you can put in that captain spot. I'll indicate which are the top tier captain spot options, and then the flex options as well. Obviously, if you want to take a little more risk, put the cheaper guy in that captain spot, and then you'll be able to fill out the rest of that lineup in the flex position. But the first person we'll talk about is going to be Najee Harris, their rookie running back from Alabama. They're giving him a ton of touches. As you can see, the uptick from week 1 all the way to week 5. He's putting together some solid fantasy performances. As you can see, 23. He finally had a 100-yard rushing game against Denver, which is surprising. Denver has a solid run defense. 122 yards, 5.3 yards a carry, a TD. He also got 2 receptions, 420 yards on 5 targets right there. And this is obviously a game where he can take over. Seattle currently, if we're going to fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs, currently the Seattle Seahawks are 29th ranked in the league. They're allowing 126.6 yards on 4.4 yards per attempt. So he obviously is going to be a top tier option at the captain position. Ben Roethlisberger, it has a nice matchup against Seattle, but he has a very low floor, not giving really much upside in the rushing department. That's what you really want. Geno Smith provides that if you want to go that route. Ben Roethlisberger, he would have to put together a big game offensively with like 2 to probably 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards. He's going to have to put that together for you to, meet that requirement of putting him in the lineup. He needs around that 20 fantasy points and higher. You're paying top dollar for him. He's the second price guy for the game slate. So you can play Roethlisberger. Obviously, if you want to pair him with his wide receivers, that's a good option. For this particular video, I'm going to stay away from him. Obviously, I'll have him in some just because the correlation makes sense. But if I'm choosing a quarterback, give me Geno Smith. Obviously, he threw an interception last week against the Rams, which is a very top tier defense. But it was forced because they were in comeback mode, and he had to force some throws. Other than that, he looked smooth running the offense, throwing the ball to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. He provides rushing upside. He had 3 attempts on 23 yards last week. I think there's more of a higher ceiling for Geno Smith than Ben Roethlisberger just because of the rushing upside. And I think the wide receivers are better. The wide receivers are better on Seattle than Pittsburgh. You can argue about that all you want. Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, to me, are better than Claypool and Deontay Johnson. They've been doing it for a longer time, and they're just better. It's not that big of a gap, but they're just better. Give me Geno Smith. I'll put him in the flex position, and obviously I wanna pair with one of the wide receivers. You're gonna have to make a choice between one or the other, DK Metcalf and Lockett. You can get really creative and choose one or the other. So for this purpose, I'll go with, let's see who had more targets. Let's see. We had 5 targets, but that's a small sample size because half the game was Russell Wilson. So you're really gonna have to make a decision and choose one or the other. But you can get creative and choose two. But if I'm bringing it back on the other side, Deontay Johnson has been very, very consistent. And look at the volume. 10 targets, 12, 13. Obviously, he only had 2 against Denver, but he made the most of it. 72 yards and a TD still provided you over double-digit fantasy points in each and every game. That's what you want to see. He's clearly the number one. Seattle does not have a lockdown wide receiver. And as you can see, you're already using a lot of your salary on these high-priced guys. So I think it's going to be key for us to find a cheaper option. Let's continue to go down. I like Claypool and I like Tyler Lockett, but I'm thinking the key to this is finding some cheaper options to allow you to afford more of these expensive guys. All right, Claypool, Lockett, or locks. I can stay away from Ben Roethlisberger because he doesn't put up that volume, but Geno Smith definitely has some upside. Alex Collins, with the injury to Chris Carson, now on the IR. He becomes the lead back. He got 15 carries on 47 yards, 2 catches on 25 yards in the receiving department as well. He's going to be the workhorse, getting over 70% of the snaps. Let's just double check that. As of last week, going now, Alex Collins had 46 snaps on 31% of the team snaps. So he was sharing it with did Carson play? Let me see. Let's double check that. He's on the IR now. And no, Carson did not play. Alex Collins was in there, mixed in with Travis Homer and DJ Dallas, but the bulk was going to Alex Collins. He's going to be on our player pool for the Sunday Night Football game. I like him there. Let's see if we can find anyone else that's cheaper. I think this is a good value spot right here. James Washington. James Washington should be back. He was out last week. He should be back in that lineup. If you want to avoid, Deontay Johnson and Claypool, their high prices, and get someone that still gets targeted and he can definitely, get a touchdown, that's James Washington. I like him at this price right now at 5,200. Something just because you need a salary saver, guys. You really do. So that's going to be our first wave. Geno Smith, Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, Alex Collins, and James Washington. The next wave of guys that can help you pay up at other spots. Let me clear out this group. And we're going to go with the next wave. I'll leave Washington because he's one of the cheaper options. And then we're going to go down the list. Okay, I'm avoiding defenses, Steelers, and Seahawks. They would need an interception for a touchdown. They would need big plays that don't really happen. If you need a cheaper flex option at the bottom, I would go with the kickers. Okay, Boswell and or Jason Myers. You can see these teams moving the ball, but struggling to get the ball in the end zone. So that's when the kickers come through. And I think I can definitely go with Boswell, who's comfortable playing in Pittsburgh. He's a veteran. Jason Myers was a top-tier kicker. He was really good with the Jets, then got signed with the Seattle Seahawks. So those guys are both in play. Gerald Everett is a factor as well. He should be back from COVID. He can be a cheaper option at the price of $4,600. I like him. Let's throw him in there. If you're looking for another cheap option, it's going to be Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth is sharing and splitting time between him and Eric Ebron. These are shots in the dark, but Seattle does struggle against the tight ends. He had a touchdown in Week 3 against Cincinnati. He's getting more and more snaps with the injury to Juju Smith-Schuster. They should be running more of that 12 personnel. Pat Freiermuth is going to be out there and Eric Ebron, but in that red zone, he has been getting targets, and he is a big body wide receiver, baby Gronk, a.k.a. Pat Freiermuth. All right, I like him as a cheaper option. If we're going even lower than that, Freddie Swain is the wide receiver 3 for Seattle. Last week in snaps, let's get an accurate number on him and his snaps. Let's see. Pat Freiermuth had 32. That was 48%. I just spoke to you about him. And Freddie Swain, was he out? There you go, Freddie Swain. He had 40 snaps. He had 61%, all right, of the team snap share. That is a good play. Getting at least the opportunity. You need someone to be on that field and get the opportunity to get in the end zone. He already has games where he has a touchdown in week 2 and week 4. He's an option as a cheaper play with decent volume. Other than that, the backup running back behind Alex Collins will be DJ Dallas. Okay, they're gonna use him and to spell. Okay, Alex Collins. He can obviously receive the ball. He had some decent games last year, taking over for Chris Carson, so he has some upside as well. And that's the cheapest I will go at that 900. Okay, that's the cheapest I will go. Everything below that is pretty ugly. So our mainstays at captain, I love Najee Harris. Geno Smith is a great option as well at captain. I'm staying away from Ben Roethlisberger. I also do like the prospects of either DK Metcalf or Deontay Johnson at that captain spot as well because of the volume that they get. So you can really choose between Metcalf and or Lockett. But on the other side, Deontay Johnson is the safest wide receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And if you want to fill in the bottom two, I gave you DJ Dallas, Freddie Swain. And if you also need a little more salary saver that's going to get decent points in a game that shouldn't be too high scoring, then the kickers can be involved. That's Chris Boswell and Jason Myers. All right, those are going to be the options for the Sunday Night Football slate. Good luck, guys. We'll see. If you have any other questions, comment down below. If you have any other ideas that you think is going to go off in the Sunday Night Football game, I'll be here to answer questions. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out.